Alright guys, welcome back to the Black Clover mobile video. We have gotten some massive leaks here, and I want to start the video by saying, boys, bear with me right now. Black Clover Mobile Global has dropped a bunch of updates. We now have Black Divider Astor on JP. If you lot don't know, I play another game, Seven since Grand Cross dropped an update, and the Idol game. And I'm playing other games too that all dropped updates today. And it's the hottest day in the UK ever. So, you know, bear with me. We're going to get this video out on probably some Vanessa gameplay later or before this video. So, let's jump towards the leaks. I want to start this video off first because, well, Dorothy, it's a meme. I really like the character. She's finally been leaked. She might finally be coming towards the game. Let's talk about it. Alright, so bear in mind, this is from the JP and Chaos side. We know that game is much different towards Global because we know Transcendence is now a thing in the game, and at least for Global, they've handled it completely different. I'll probably make a video about it tomorrow, going over how it actually works and who to level up first, just because there's so much dropping today. But just bear in mind, Global changes things for the better. So look on screen now. LR+, yes, that's a thing. Now, bear in mind, that is because JP probably wants to make a bit more money, and they need more ways for growth in order to keep the game alive on the JP and Chaos side, so don't freak too much out about this one. It might be handled similarly or a lot better on Global, but yes, LR+ is apparently a thing. Moving on, we have two new seasonal characters. Despite July being basically done, they're apparently still doing some seasonal characters. We now have the official artwork for Red Attacker Charlotte. As you can see, she actually does look very, very good. I mean, to be fair, we've seen her artwork because she was leaked last year when we got our first seasonal banner, but then now we have the actual Yami artwork here, which is going to be another. Oh no, she's been changed to Red Supporter. Okay, so she was a Red Attacker, but now she's a Supporter. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but now Yami is a Red Attacker here, and he is what you expect him to like. Looks very good. My only bad thing is that he changed his shirt because it was shown, obviously, like 2 years ago now, actually, in the calendar promotion for the game, that Yami had this, like, orange shirt with the Black Bulls logo, where he doesn't have that. But he has got the Black Bull shorts on, so maybe I don't mind it too much. We are going to be getting two new seasonal characters, and that is going to be Seasonal Hip-Hop Sally, and also Seasonal Hip-Hop Magna. So it looks like they are continuing that seasonal theme. I thought they were going to stop doing it, especially after the seasonal ones, but no, we are going to be getting these characters. But then we have two big leaks, and the reason why I'm excited for these two is because, well, they are like canon characters, right? These are characters that are from the actual story and not seasonal. So we have the Spirit of Fire, Fuegoleon Vermilion, a Chaos Attacker. Now, bear in mind, from the looks of it, this should be like the Salamander. You know, when he has his firearm and he's been chosen by the Salamander, he wakes up from his coma because he has, once again, a dragon, plus the line, the artwork there for the ultimate looks insane, by the way. But yeah, because it's not a seasonal, right? So his first skill is Fire Pillar. What he's going to do is inflicts taunt onto a random enemy for 1 turn, and also as well, it will apply when counter-attacking. It might be relevant towards his kit later on. If you counter-attack without having the Salamander's Flame present on self, then grant Salamander's Flame buff for 2 turns. So that is, yeah, very, very good. Applying taunt towards a counter every single time is, yeah, very, very good. Moving on to skill 2, we have Salamander's Flame Ball. For every instance of burn, guys, let me just say this. It's slightly annoying when every game gives a fire character burn. I get it. He's fire. He's going to have the burn effect, but they can move away from it, right? But then again, maybe they've actually buffed up Merleon in some way. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, you know, it's a bit like it's not creative, right? Every instance of continuous damage, burn damage, an enemy is taken, attacks after granted a 4% damage increase, which is what he had in his ultimate, but now in skill 2, the old one. If an enemy is taking continuous damage, inflicts burn damage to the left and right enemy of the designated target, which is, yeah, okay, that's kind of cool. Skill page additions, so that is even buffed up by the skill page. That's just a raw one, so you can imagine it can be a lot better. But yeah, that's a single target one. Apply more burns. Cool, we don't mind it. The ultimate, the Roar and Flames, the Flame Lion and Salamander will cover the enemy's camp in flames, doing damage to all enemies. Grant yourself increase all attack level 3 for 2 turns. Grant yourself increase HP recovery for level 5 for 2 turns. And inflict burn onto enemy and dealing continuous damage for 2 turns. That looks like it's going to do a lot of damage, but I guess the main thing of this ultimate is that you're dealing damage, but not really going for the big one-shot nuke, and instead get a bunch of buffs to where you can do more damage later on. Unlike the last, you know, Fuegoleon, who was like all or nothing. If you don't kill the ultimate, you probably lost the game. With this one, he's going to do a lot of damage, but then boom, do a lot of good single target damage afterwards if they do manage to survive. Passive, at the start of the battle, grant Salamander Flame buff for 2 turns. The Salamander's Flame, if Salamander Flame is present on stealth, grant a 50% lifesteal and reduce damage taken by 5%. If you are counter attack while Salamander Flame is present on self, perform an extra attack, dealing damage on all enemies, dealing damage. Yo, this guy seems broken. Is he not? It feels like a festival. Am I wrong? I don't know. This feels like a festival in a way. So yeah, if he counter attacks, he's not only gonna counter attack and apply taunt towards the person that targeted him, but also deal with AoE damage afterwards. Like, insane. And this is going to be a character you can just get by generally playing the game, because if he's not a limited character, he will go into the generous star pool like how we have Gray and Zora and Vanessa right now. Awaken passive, when hit by an enemy who's taken continuous burn damage, counter attack. At the start of battle, if all allies include yourself have different attributes and your HP is below 5%, grants immortality buff. That has kind of ruined the character a little bit there, because that means you can't use Black Asta or even the new Zora or Vanessa just came out right now. But then again, maybe it's a good thing they're restricting a lot of these like characters to work together, so they can make, hey, this guy's super broken because he can be broken because he has to be just like different characters. So that is kind of interesting. And then the partner skill, which is yeah, I mean that took a minute to read, you know. That was a lot to go through, because this guy looks insane. I'm not gonna lie. For actually like carry attacker, that is yeah, I'm gonna be very curious how he's gonna look and just playing game, because at least we're going now towards canon character, and it's gonna be the Fuegoleon with its actual flame armor. It's gonna look really, really good in game. But in the one I'm excited about, the character I've been waiting since the start of the game. Literally, when they announced the game was coming out, they started teasing all the captains, and we got to see Dorothy, and this was the character I said I was gonna reroll for, assuming she would release on the game's launch. And we got Goldari, and she was we got Julius, we got every captain, including the Wizard King, before we got Dorothy. They waited way too long for this one, because especially considering that now in like the Elf arc, we're going to be getting, or should be getting, you know, Elf Dorothy, who deserves her own character. However, I feel like she won't come out for a while, especially now with this one. So let's read through her. So Dorothy, red debuffer. Okay, so she's going to work with Black Asta, with every single dark and light type coming out that has like this exclusive passive. Fire a magic bullet of dream magic, dealing damage to an enemy. Inflicts extend debuff duration by 1 turn, and if enemy is inflicted with nightmare, inflict 20% reduced mobility debuff on the enemy. Single target skill, not bad, but we have to wait and see what that nightmare buff does. Skill 2, dream mode, sends an opponent into the dream mode and deals damage to one enemy. Inflicts disarm onto an enemy, and also inflicts crit rate reduction debuff onto one enemy. Once again, like Fuegoleon, these two skills are pretty good. We're seeing that Vanessa reached out with our level 5 disarm, which is very, very good, and lowering crit rate is obviously very, very good too. Disarm reduces damage overall, so it doesn't matter if it's Asta or even like, you know, a magic user. Disarm is very, very good. No addition to skill page right now, so it's going to get even better in the future. The SP, we have Magical Space, World of Illusion. Inflicts damage onto one enemy with an attack in the dream world. 100% chance to inflict nightmare debuff onto an enemy for 2 turns. Inflicts silence, not total silence, so you're only going to stop tier 2s onto an enemy for 2 turns. So nightmare, the targets that have the nightmare debuff at the start of the turn is going to inflict a random debuff, level 5 by the way, onto the target. If a buff is applied to the target while nightmare is present, inflict a 20% reduced mobility debuff onto the target. Random debuffs can be reduced damage dealt, reduced damage taken, reduce all attack, or reduce critical res, or reduce defense. I mean, generally speaking, you're not going to mind any of those, because them just dealing less damage towards you, sure, is fine, but also dealing more damage towards them, you also really like that too. I wonder how the mobility is going to work, because you can imagine, I don't think you lose a turn. I don't know how that's going to work, because like, what if you get to your turn, but then you lose 20%? Do you skip a turn, or do you go back? And you just keep on getting pushed back until everyone has their turn where you can finally attack. That could be kind of broken, I'm not going to lie. Okay, passive seems broken? Hang on, this is actually insane. So, transfers 1 debuff applied to the attacked enemy to all the enemies. So, if you have, I don't think the nightmare works, but if you have that, you know, critical rate down from a tier 2 or the ultimate or disarm level 3, if you then attack, or the passive just does it passively, it's then going to transfer that disarm level 3 or crit rate, or maybe even the nightmare, who knows what it actually does, to all the enemies on the field. Insane. That's actually really, really good. The Awaken passive, if you attack an enemy inflicted with a debuff, grant a 20% increase in mobility so you can get more turns off. And then when you get towards 5-star Awakening, this one's going to be, I think, very, very good actually. At the start of the wave, so the base of the battle, right? But only obviously once. Inflict buff block for 1 turn onto the enemy with the highest attack. So you can imagine that's going to be, it could be Noelle. They play buffs, so that's, you can't apply buffs towards Noelle. She can't apply towards herself. Very, very good. You can imagine when Black Divider Asta comes out, he might have the most attack in the game. And then he has a lot of buffs himself. So that will block him from getting 1 buff for 1 turn. Partner skill, reduce speed, level 3 into aim for 2 turns. Actually, very, very good. And then we have these little 3 buff icons that were leaked a little bit in the past. But we looks like a new buff and debuff called High Copy Buff and High Copy Debuff is going to be for Third Eye Fauna. We have the new Nightmare debuff for Dorothy. And also this Dragon one, which we thought might have been for Noelle, because I think it was leaked for Noelle, unless people misread into it. But it looks like it actually is for the new buff, the Salamander Flame. So, and then finally, to wrap up the video, we have one more kit, because it just got leaked a little bit afterwards. But this is Finral. So he's finally coming to the game, and this is what he does. So he's going to be a Harmony supporter. Like we said, we kind of known that because he was already shown like that. So let's see why he was so broken. Remember, this guy got delayed because of balance issues, apparently. So his skill 1. Fires a magic bullet dealing damage to an enemy per 20 speed. Attacks after granting a 4% damage dealt buff. And grants 1 SP to stuff. So he's actually going to deal a little bit of damage. That's interesting. Alright, so then we have his skill 2. And this skill 2 is going to restrict him to being stuck by an Asta, basically. But then you can't use Noelle, though. So, like, yeah, we'll see. So, what it does say is grants a level 3 speed buff to an ally for 2 turns. Then you get a 100% chance, obviously max level, to grant an attacker ally a level 3 crit rate buff, which is obviously very good. But if you get a skill page, it's then going to grant an attacker ally a level 4 attack buff. Now remember, it's attack, so it only works towards people that aren't based off magic. So this is basically right now going to be buffing up, yeah, Black Divider Asta, maybe in a few months time when we get Equinox Yami, if we ever get him. So yeah, that is, yeah, going to be one of the best buffers for, yeah, Finral. Moving down, Fallen Angel Wing Beat. So he's going to remove all buffs on an enemy and then grants an extra turn. Okay, wow, okay. That's, it deals damage, so it does deal damage. But it's just, yeah, you boom, remove buffs, deal damage, and you get an extra turn to where you can use your skill 2 or skill 1 again. Alright, so the passive shows it was he was meant to release around the same time as Grey, but at the start of battle, if all allies, excluding yourself, of course not him, are the same attribute, blue, red, or green, so you know, you only use 1 color basically, like how Grey is, you're going to grant all allies a actual 20% mobility buff, which is what the Finral did, just with his ultimate, so he's getting that for free basically, just for getting the character towards LR. His Awaken passive, at the start of battle, if all allies, including yourself, are the same attributes, you're going to grant yourself 3+ speed. When you get towards 5-star Awakening at the start of the wave. At the start of the wave, you're going to grant all allies Taunt immunity, which no one passively applies Taunt at the start of battle or the start of wave. You have to do something beforehand, and it's only 1 turn. So if you get to have all your turns in the way, you're going to have that Taunt immunity regardless. So that is not going to be too useful. So at least reading through that, if the top one is for the 2-star Awakening, I mean, even then, you might not even need the 3+ speed. This guy looks very decent at low deep levels. Finally, the Grimoire passive is every turn, there's a 100% chance, if you max dupe it, to grant a 35 increased speed buff to an allies whose mobility is below 50% for 1 turn. And boys, that is finally it. That took me like 30 minutes to actually read through all of that. So there we go. That is all the leaks. Let me know who you are looking forward to the most. Like I said, for me, it has to be obviously Dorothy. Maybe because I'm biased with the character. I've been wanting it for such a long time now. The fantasy, you know, I'm probably going to use it the most here. But Finral probably being the best one, I think. Maybe. At least in terms of like him working with like, you know, other festivals, like obviously Black Divider Asta, because it's just going to buff up the attack and it's going to kill everyone. It's going to be broken. So boys, thank you for watching, and yeah, peace.